Was there a specific defining moment that you had where you are in Taiwan as an expat and you just totally said, hey, it's great living in this country. It's, there's nothing else I want to do better. But that defining moment which really allowed you to settle in.
I think for me, part of it was when I went home the first summer. And when I was home the first summer and I was meeting friends that I hadn't seen for a year, I threw myself a big, I'm coming home party. Like everybody has to come and see me because I'm here. And all my friends came and everybody was there. And I'm going to start crying again. Why did I cry? Your stinking podcasts make me cry. I'm not coming back.
And we're inviting you back just because
of that. Well, I realized that I had grown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had grown. And my friends, as fabulous as every single one of them is, and I wouldn't change any of them, their lives stayed the same. Mm-hmm. And they're happy and their kids got a little bit older and they went on that vacation to Hawaii and they're living their best life. But I had grown. I had changed. I had a different view of how things were. And I realized in that moment, I remember where I was sitting and I remember thinking, I'm forever changed. Mm-hmm. Like I cannot ever go back. Right. And I thought that is something worth celebrating and that's something worth embracing. And I remember when we first got to Taipei, we had met another teaching couple that had been here 12 years at the time. And we met them and they said they'd been here 12 years. And I was like, that will never happen ever. I mean, I remember telling my husband, I'm like, this is 2 years tops. Like that was what our contract was. And we're on year 12, right? Yeah. It was such an enriching moment to realize that I had grown and that I had, and if I really embraced it, because the first year was hard. It was hard. For me, it was hard because I had been a single person for so long. I had made all the money. I had spent the money. I had invested the money. And now I wasn't working. And I was somebody's wife. I had no career. I had this husband who was now bringing home the paycheck. So I thought I better not spend it because I didn't earn it. Mm-hmm. The whole first year was so traumatic that I thought I can only do this for a few years because then I got to go back and have purpose. Yeah. Because I didn't feel like I could have that here. And then having dinner with my friends and sitting down and realizing I am growing. And maybe it's not because I have executive, marketing executive at the end of my name, or maybe it's not because I have, whatever. I'm growing. I'm becoming a better version of myself. And if I embrace that, what else could I become? Yeah. And that's when I came back and I started the Fit page that second year and subsequently moved on to doing the adventure group as well. So I think that was probably the biggest moment, is realizing that so much growth had happened in a moment where I felt like I was stale. I really did. The whole first year I felt stale. Mm-hmm. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have a paycheck. Like I had a job. I've had a job since I was 9 years old.
Yeah, your identity just kind of shifted.
Right. Yeah. And I wasn't expecting.
The value of yourself diminished because, I resigned my job from DC because my husband made the announcement on August the 7th, 2011, about our 3-year stay because of his job transfer. But you know what? When was the ticket for? August the 15th. He broke the news to me at August the 7th, saying, hey, babe, I got a new career. And we're moving back to Taiwan. And our flight is scheduled for the 17th of August. I'm like, of what year? He was like, the current year. I'm like, we're in August already. He was like, yeah, so we need to pack fast.
Yeah, it's hard, I think, especially for career women. Right. Not everyone is a career woman per se. But if you have an identity that is, attached to your career, and mine very much was so. Right. I had, again, we kind of talked about this last time, having kind of a crappy childhood, having worked my way up to be an executive at a very large company was unheard of. My mother and our family were welfare people, and we lived in trailers and things like that. So for me to have gotten to this point, I was so tied to that identity because it was as far removed from where I came from as humanly possible. I was successful and nobody could see the hungry, abused little girl. So when time came to give that up, it was more than just my career. It was everything. And I got married, and it was I literally felt like a failure for almost the first year I was here. And I don't mean like a failure, like, I have no value, but I felt like I couldn't establish a value in a place that I didn't know. And no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't get my feet underneath me enough to feel like I was growing. And then I went and met my friends and I realized it was happening without me even knowing. And it was happening in a way that was so unique. When I quit my corporate job, they replaced me 2 days later. That's how important that career was to me. They found a replacement 2 days later. There is no replacement for this. This kind of growth and this kind of, personal discovery, this doesn't happen at a 9 to 5. This happens by living and experiencing life in a really genuine place and space. And so that's when I knew that I wanted to do this, and I knew I wanted to do it again, and I knew I want to do it again. And we have big plans. I won't get into it now because I don't think we have time, but we have big plans to be what we call Expats, where we're going to go and live places for 3 months, get a visa, live there for 3 months, and get a visa and live there 3 months. And we're going to do that as part of our retirement package, because I feel like if this much growth can happen, the sky's the limit. And I really do want to have all of that kind of growth if it's available to me for as long as I can, for as long as my health and all of that holds up. So
God bless you. Yeah. My God.
So with your corporate life, Taiwan was actually your very first expat location that you lived.
Yep, this was the first time. We had never, I had traveled extensively, but I'd never lived anywhere. I mean, I lived in Italy for 3 months, but that was a planned vacation. I didn't live there and work there. I decided I was going to go for 3 months and did. But other than that, I'd never lived anywhere. And this was the first, and we weren't even planning this. This was a job that came up at the last minute. TAS, Taipei American School, had a last minute job opening, and they reached out to my husband directly and said, "We want you. What is it going to take to get you?" So we went ahead and threw caution to the wind, and did it. And but I remember literally, I'm so funny, I'm dying laughing. I remember going in and quitting my job, and my boss is like, "For real? Like, you're like luckily I'm blessed with the gift of sales and marketing, and so I was our number one producer, so I was making really excellent money." And he's like, "You're like the number one producer. Like, what? You're gonna quit?" And so I told him why, and he said to me, I'll never forget. He's like, "Wow, you're gonna be an expat. That sounds exciting." Never heard that word before. I didn't know what expat was, but I didn't want to seem stupid to this guy, right? Who just basically told me, "Wow, you're gonna go be an expat." I went home and Googled it. I didn't know what it was. I'm all, "Well, yes, I am going to be an expat." I didn't know. That's how foreign this idea was to me. I didn't even know what that meant. Doug, that was my boss at the time. Thank you. He, if you watch this, he introduced me to a word I didn't even know existed. And, but yeah, so this was the first, and it was the first time I hadn't had a job since I was 9.
Yeah.
And we moved here when, I was 41. We moved here. So yeah, so I had a job every day of my life. And then I came here and had nothing. And I remember being so upset. I'll tell you a story. So when I was working in the States, I had a helper that just cleaned the house. No, she didn't help raise my daughter, but I was a single mom, and I could spend the whole Saturday cleaning my house, or I could spend the Saturday with my daughter. I chose to hire someone to help me. So that's how I justified it. So I hadn't cleaned a toilet, I don't know how many years. I hadn't cleaned a toilet. So I get here and I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know how the story goes. No, it doesn't go anywhere ugly. No, I just know that. So I'm like, I'm going to be a good wife, and I'm going to clean the kitchens and clean the bathroom. So I cleaned the toilet, which I hate, by the way, I don't love it. And I remember my husband came home from work and he used the toilet. And I was like, "Oh, this is not going to work for me. You have to go to the bathroom at work." He said, "Why?" I said, "I just cleaned that. I don't want." He's like, "Do you need a helper?" I said, "Yes, I need a helper." So we do have a helper here, and I feel blessed because she's a sweet lady, and she needs the money more than I need to not clean toilets. So I justify it that way. But I'll never forget, he came home and actually used the toilet I had just cleaned. I felt so diminished as a human. I was like, I can't. You have to pee at work.
And what was his response?
He said, "Do you need me should we hire a helper?" I said,
they
yes.
hired a helper.
I said, we got to hire.
What a sweet husband.
I know. I said, I just, you know what I mean? Like so much of my identity had been, I felt washed away, literally.
Right.
That just felt even more diminished to have him come home and not appreciate, like, don't dirty the toilet. I just cleaned. Which is totally a normal thing he should do, but in my mind it was like, oh no, you won't. So it was a struggle that first year, but going home I think has really put the icing on what was happening, and I was able to grasp it in a way that I hadn't seen by trying to go back to my old life and realize I was too big for my old life. I had grown.
Because you're excited, or we're excited about our new life and our new experiences and how much we've grown, but when you go back and you tell these stories, they'll listen for a little while, but their eyes kind of glaze over. And they're exactly, they live their life. And you know, it's hard sometimes to think that your old friends are not exactly the same anymore, because you're not the same. But it's also a way to move on and accept. Now, Helen was telling me that you had a potential station in Singapore rather than Taiwan. What was it? Is that right, or did you make the choices?
Well, we so when we had to go back to America because my husband's mother was quite ill, and when we got back, it was important that we got back, and that was a great year to spend with family. We've been gone a long time, and his mom subsequently did pass, and but we were there for that, which was very important. But pretty early on, we realized, especially my husband, that he needed more purpose than just Home Depot and mowing the lawn. Yeah. He was like, I remember when we were leaving, he's like, I can't wait till my only job is mowing the lawn in Home Depot. 6 weeks in, he's like, I hate my new life. I don't want to mow the lawn or go to Home Depot ever again. So I thought, okay. And so he's like, maybe I'll do some part-time work, or maybe we look to go abroad again, you know, since his mom had passed. And so we started looking into some jobs. And there, for those that know or don't know, there's lots of websites where you can go and see where they're hiring. So there were several positions at Singapore American School, which is a really highly desired school to work at. But when we needed to get a referral letter or a reference letter from Taipei American School, as soon as we requested that, they contacted us and said, hey, you know, if you've still got some teaching left in you, which is what my husband had decided, he did have some teaching left in you. He's like, come back here. We would love to have you back. And my husband's a really good teacher. And I can say that because I knew him as a teacher before I knew him as a husband. He taught my daughter, and my daughter has learning disabilities. And he was one of the first teachers that my daughter actually was excited to go to school. The other times it was struggle and frustration and anger and tears. And then she got excited about going to school. So he has a gift with that. And Taipei American School offered him a chance to come back. And we just made a decision, you know what? We love it enough to come back. And I mean, I hate to say this, COVID was finally over. Yeah. I mean, COVID in Taiwan, I mean, people may be on either side of the fence on it. I don't know. I think they tried really hard to do it really good, but it was pretty awful for a while, you know? And we couldn't travel. I actually got stuck in the U.S. for 8 months during COVID because I'm not a natural born Taiwanese, so they wouldn't let me back in.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. So I was gone. I had left in January for a business trip and went to come back in February. COVID had hit the end of January. Nope, you can't come back. Yeah. So I was stuck for 8 months until we could, until they lifted the restrictions. So I think during that time, those last year and a half to 2 years here made Taiwan more difficult. So now that it's lifted, now that we can hop on a plane and be in Singapore, be in Thailand, be in Bali, be on the beach, be in Japan.
Right.
Ramen in Japan is life-changing. I feel like Taiwan's still the best option for our family. And it won't be where, I say this often to people, you know, barring a bad accident, this will not be where I die, but it's definitely where I feel like I can still grow here. So that's why we came back. Yeah.
And also, too, the funny thing is, how lost can you get? It's an island. Come on. This is what I've been telling myself.
Have you been to the fabric market? You can get lost here.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you're talking about.
And there's Google Maps now.
But yes, you're right. It is a tiny island. There's a a lot of.
It's not tiny when
not
you're
small.
lost. It's not tiny when you're lost. But yes, I mean, it's a beautiful island.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful island, and it has a lot to offer, from the little surrounding islands to Kenting. I mean, there's beautiful stuff here. But I think almost the trademark for Taiwan should be, we're an hour plane ride from everything great. Like, I mean, you can get on a plane and be in Tokyo. You can get on a plane and be in Thailand. Like, I think that's part of the.
Three and a
Well,
half.
3
4 hours.
But I
Well,
can't
we
get
know
on,
what you
you know,
mean.
I can't
Yeah,
get on a
it's
plane
very
and be in New York in 3 hours. It's here, a layover in Houston. I mean, it takes you 7 hours to get to New York, right? I could be in Thailand in 3 hours. So I think it's an amazing place to be, but it's also an amazing place to be within the Southeast Asian footprint.